Scott, our city administrator, Mr. Chris Shorter, and our lead consent decree monitor, Mr. Ken Thompson. Councilman Glover has also joined us. Thank you, sir. At or around 9:06 p.m. tonight, detectives from the Eastern District led the rear parking lot of 2200 East Biddle Street on an investigation that involved a vehicle that we suspected was involved in multiple armed robberies. The detectives were coordinating with other officers from the Eastern District to enter the parking lot to identify the driver of the vehicle and to perhaps uh, continue in their investigation. As the detectives and the officers were entering the parking lot, one of our officers exited the vehicle and was approaching on foot. When the driver of the suspected vehicle saw the police officers, he put the car in motion and began to drive toward the police officer. At some point, he was driving toward the officer and struck the officer head on, which we have now seen for ourselves on one of the officer's body cam video. It appears that right as the officer was being struck by the vehicle head on, the officer fired what we believe is two shots to the rear, to the front windshield. What we believe right now is that that driver was struck once in the shoulder, but was able to maneuver out of the parking lot, drive around the corner, crashed a couple of blocks away. And as he exited the vehicle to attempt to make good of his escape, he was actually apprehended by police officers, taken into custody, and arrested. Because we believe he was shot once in the shoulder, he was transported to a local hospital where the latest report was he was likely in stable condition. Our officer who was struck by that vehicle was taken to a hospital as a precaution. We have learned that he is in good condition and not injured. So as of now, what we know is that this is a police-involved shooting as per policy. We have enacted this investigation and turned it over to our special investigation response team. We've enacted our body camera video critical incident video release policy as of this moment. Once again, we have seen one of the videos that articulates and demonstrates that this subject was driving toward our officer, struck the officer head on, and what we believe right now is that it was at that point the officer fired what we believe was two rounds into the vehicle, the front windshield, striking the subject one time in the arm. Once again, we believe he is in stable condition. This is an ongoing investigation, so there are not much more details we can go into right now. We're still out here combing for evidence. Officers and detectives will be looking for cameras around the area, any evidence, any potential witnesses. And as that information unfolds, if there's more to present, we'll certainly bring that back to you. This time I'll turn it over to our mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. And let me first ask the citizens of Baltimore to wish our officer a speedy recovery. We are lucky that no one got seriously hurt or died out here tonight, but we want to also thank the officers for doing exactly what we asked them to do, to be in the neighborhoods where we know that robbery. Think about this building where there's senior citizens, women, folks who are living here who have been experiencing that. They were doing exactly what we asked them to do, and we are grateful for their work. We're going to go through this investigation to make sure that everything happened the way that we know it should have. We cannot accept that folks can just try to run someone over. That's not an acceptable thing to do. We're grateful that no one died on here tonight, but again, we're thankful for our officers for their tough, great, good police work to make sure that they are following up on the things that have been harming our residents here in East Baltimore and all across our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I certainly like to echo that. This is exactly what we've asked you to do. This is exactly what you want our officers to do. To follow up on those leads and make sure we find those who are harming our community and to take the appropriate action and to do it in a safe and constitutional way. Thank you. This time we'll take a few questions.
Commissioner, really quickly, can you touch on again how police came in contact with the individual?
Well, it's through good investigative work, and they were provided information and they followed up on that information that led them to the 2200 block where it was believed that the vehicle suspected in multiple armed robberies was in this rear parking lot. That was confirmed. And so it's good investigative work. We don't want to go into tactics and into techniques, but it is an ongoing investigation, and the rest of that has to be preserved so that we don't compromise our investigation.
Right.
Was it just the driver?
Officers showed up with good information here, and the person was still in the car.
It appears that person was in the car when our officer showed up.
Thanks.
Was the driver in the vehicle? Was anybody else involved?
There was only one person inside the vehicle. Yes, sir.
There's also struck the officer who fired the shots.
Yes. Yes.
There's also a scene on East Hoffman and North Washington Street. Is that where the crash happened?
That may be where the crash happened, or that may be where the person was actually arrested. But he did maneuver out of the parking lot, went a couple of blocks away, and crashed. And so that is a second scene or a continuation of this scene.
Have you all seen the body camera footage?
We, the mayor, the city administrator, the lead monitor, and I have seen one of the body cameras. The other one is still down.
Was that the officer that was hit?
It was not the officer that was hit, but it was another person on the scene. And it was enough for us to see to be able to give you at least this much information.
Forgive me, Commissioner. This is where they found the man in the suspected stolen car at this location.
The parking lot behind me is where the incident originated, where the car was originally parked, and he put the car in motion. It's a scene around the corner where he crashed, and he was later apprehended.
Great.
Can you just be clear? Behind this apartment building.
Yes.
Directly behind this apartment.
Behind the car.
You said multiple armed robberies. Can you give us a time span on those incidents?
I actually cannot. The investigators have that information. What we have learned is that the vehicle was potentially used or possibly used in multiple ways.
Last question.
Is it just one officer that was involved in this incident?
It's multiple officers involved in trying to identify who was driving the car and to conduct this investigation. It was only one officer that discharged.
Scott,
Thank you.
One more question. This is right in front of Munir's building. We've been in there together before. I was talking to him a bit about how this doesn't happen in his neighborhood as much, but to see it happen somewhere like this that is, got all the right things happening, what does that speak to the level of crime we're seeing and the work we still have to do?
Well, it also says that it shows that we have a lot of work to do, right? As you know, I'm not unfamiliar to this neighborhood. I've been here many times putting in the work to help in this neighborhood. But it shows that, and you can be anywhere. Again, like we were talking about, like this is the council in his neighborhood, right? His family lives here. He lives in this neighborhood. Like that you can be and this is why we have to be vigilant to make sure that we're holding people accountable while we simultaneously do the things that Munir and all the folks in this neighborhood are doing to provide opportunities. It's not a either or, it's a both at the same time. Because you provide, see, if it happens in a place where you see it with your own eyes, when people are providing opportunities for folks to do better with their lives, but you're still going to have to hold people accountable that don't. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.